I never imagined that at 71, after a lifetime of working, raising my children alone, and surviving losses no mother should endure, I would be told, by my own daughter, that I wasn't welcome at her wedding. But life has a cruel way of sending the deepest cuts from the hands you raised, fed, protected, and loved. My name is Sandra, and this is the story I never thought I'd have to tell. A story of betrayal, manipulation, humiliation, and the quiet, devastating revenge of a woman who had nothing left to lose. My story begins about 6 months before the wedding, long before the text that shattered me. I was sitting in my small living room, knitting a baby blanket for my neighbor's little girl, when my phone rang. It was my daughter, Melissa. Her voice was frantic, trembling, as if she'd been crying for hours. "Mom," she whispered, "I need your help. Please. Please don't say no." I didn't even know what the problem was, but my heart clenched. She was my only child. I'd spent decades working overtime, skipping meals, saving pennies, all for her. I had survived my husband's death, my own medical issues, and the crushing loneliness of old age. But whenever she called me Mom in that little girl tone, every instinct I had came alive. She told me she was in debt, serious debt. Credit cards, medical bills, loans taken out without thinking. She said she was drowning. She said she couldn't breathe. And she said if I didn't help her, her fiancé's family would look down on her forever. That last part stung more than anything. Melissa used to be so confident, so proud. But ever since she got engaged to Daniel, she had become different. Softer. More compliant. Like clay being molded by someone else's hands. I asked her how much she needed. She hesitated, too long. Then she gave me a number that made my stomach drop. It wasn't something I had lying around. But a mother. A mother always finds a way. I spent 3 nights awake, going over bank books and old documents, until finally I decided to do what I had avoided for years. I cashed in the life insurance policy meant for my own burial. My husband had bought it when we were young. "So you never have to worry," had said, squeezing my hands. But now, decades later, I let it go. For my daughter. For her future. When I handed her the money envelope, she hugged me tightly, crying into my shoulder. "Thank you, Mom. I promise, I'll make it up to you." I believed her. Foolishly. Blindly. Completely. Weeks passed, and her wedding planning grew louder, bigger, and more extravagant. I wasn't invited to most appointments, but I brushed it off, telling myself young brides want their friends, not their mothers, by their side. I kept asking if she wanted help, but she always said, "Daniel's mom is handling everything." That woman. I didn't know her well, but she was the type who liked power. A woman who smiled with her lips but never her eyes. A woman who once told me, during Christmas dinner, it must be so nice having only one child. Less pressure to be successful. She looked me up and down like I was a piece of worn-out furniture. Still, I kept peace. For Melissa. 3 months before the wedding, I noticed Melissa stopped calling me regularly. She sounded distant, distracted. I felt like I was becoming a stranger in my own daughter's life. And yet, I held back. I didn't want to be that mother who clings. I wanted her to grow. I wanted her to be happy. Then one Wednesday evening, my world went silent. I remember I had just finished cooking a small pot of lentil soup. My phone buzzed. A message from Melissa. Before I even opened it, something inside me tightened. It said, "Mom, don't come to the wedding. Daniel's mom says it'll be less stressful. She's in charge now. Please don't make this hard." That I stared at the screen, my breath frozen. My hands trembled so violently I nearly dropped the phone. Less stressful? She's in charge now? What did that even mean? I called her instantly. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. The next day, no reply. The day after, nothing. I cried for hours, curled on the sofa, clutching the same hands that had once braided her hair, held her through nightmares, and wiped her tears. I kept whispering, why would she do this? What did I do wrong? But deep down, a cold realization seeped in. Someone else was pulling the strings. Daniel's mother. And Melissa was letting her. For 2 weeks, I drowned in silence. But then, something snapped. It happened while I was watering my tiny balcony garden. The sun was warm, the air soft, and for a moment, I felt my husband beside me, the way he always did when I needed strength. Don't let anyone disrespect you, Sandy, he would say, tapping his chest. Your dignity comes first. That day, I decided I wasn't going to be thrown away like a forgotten napkin. If they didn't want me at the wedding, fine. But I would not go quietly. Not after everything I sacrificed. Not after the money I gave to save Melissa from disgrace. I decided to investigate. And what I found made revenge not only deserved, but necessary. First, I learned from a mutual friend that Melissa had told people I refused to help with the wedding. A lie. A ridiculous, cruel lie. Then I found out that Daniel's mother had loudly announced at a family lunch, Sandra's too poor to contribute anything meaningful, so she'll attend only if it doesn't disrupt the theme. The theme? They were benching me because I didn't match their aesthetic, but the final blow. The moment that ignited the fire inside me, a neighbor's daughter who worked at a small courthouse told me she recognized Melissa and Daniel. They had come in to apply for a marriage loan, using MY money as collateral. My burial money. My husband's legacy. My heart. That night, sitting alone in my dim living room, I whispered to myself, they used me. They spat on me. They erased me. And then I said the words that changed everything, this ends now. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was quiet. Simple. Legal. And devastating. I went to my bank and revoked the transfer. Because the money had never officially been gifted, it was still under my insurance liquidation holding period. I had the right to pull it back before the final clearance. 2 signatures, 1 form, and suddenly, Melissa and Daniel's loan was void. Their wedding vendor payments started failing. Their venue deposit bounced. Their dress designer paused work. Their caterer canceled. I didn't know this immediately, of course. But 2 weeks before the wedding, Melissa showed up at my door. I hadn't seen her in months. She looked exhausted, frantic, her perfect bridal glow replaced by panic. She didn't hug me. She didn't even say hello. She demanded, Mom, what did you do? I stayed silent, watching her unravel like a loose thread. She explained, rapid fire, that the wedding was collapsing. Payments were being rejected. The bank said the collateral funds were frozen. Daniel's mother was furious, blaming Melissa entirely. The in-laws were calling her irresponsible, untrustworthy. That money was for us. She shouted. You ruined everything. Why would you do this to me? I kept my voice calm. Why would you tell me not to come to my own daughter's wedding? She swallowed hard. She had no answer. Instead, she whispered, Mom. Please. Fix it. Just sign whatever they need. Daniel's mom won't let me postpone. She said it'll embarrass the family. Ah. There it was. Fear. Control. Manipulation. But not mine. Hers. And for the first time, I saw the truth. Melissa wasn't just influenced by that woman, she was molded. Pressured. Twisted. She had allowed herself to be reshaped into someone who valued status over family, appearances over love, and obedience over gratitude. I stood tall, my hands steady. Melissa, I will fix it. But not the way you think. Her eyes lit up, too soon. I continued, in withdrawing fully. Not just the collateral money. Everything. Every cent I gave you. And am reporting the unauthorized use of my funds, she gasped. Mom, no, yes, I said softly. You told me not to come. You told me I wasn't welcome. So I won't contribute to an event where I'm treated like garbage. She burst into tears, sinking onto my couch. I didn't mean it. Daniel's mom said it was better. She said you'd embarrass us because you're older. And you don't dress fancy. And you're not modern enough. That I inhaled sharply. So that was it. Age. Appearance. Status. The same things I had battled my entire life. I looked at my daughter, my grown, capable child, and felt something inside me fracture. Melissa, I whispered, you didn't defend me? She shook her head miserably. And in that silence, I knew everything about our relationship had changed forever. Over the next 48 hours, the chain reaction of my withdrawal destroyed the wedding beyond repair. Daniel's mother tried calling me 5 times, but I never picked up. She sent long, dramatic texts accusing me of sabotage, jealousy, and emotional instability. I replied once, respect is earned. Not demanded. They tried everything, begging, threatening, manipulating, but my decision remained firm. The wedding was cancelled 3 days before the date. Guests were confused. Vendors were furious. Daniel's mother was humiliated. And Melissa. She came to my house one last time. She stood at my doorway, eyes swollen, voice hoarse. She whispered, Mom. I ruined everything, didn't I? I nodded gently. Yes, sweetheart. But not because of me. Because you forgot who loves you, and who controls you. She sobbed into my arms, shaking like a child again. For a moment, I held her. I will always love her. But love does not mean allowing people to step on your dignity. We haven't fully repaired our relationship yet. I don't know if we ever will. Some wounds are simply too deep. But I do know this, no mother should be told she isn't worthy of attending her child's wedding. No mother should pay the price, financially or emotionally, while someone else takes control. And no mother should stay silent when she is betrayed. Sometimes revenge isn't about hurting others. Sometimes revenge is simply giving people exactly what they asked for. They didn't want me at the wedding. So in the end, there was no wedding at all. If you're watching this, or listening to my story, remember, growing old doesn't make you weak. Being quiet doesn't make you powerless. And loving someone doesn't mean allowing them to rip you apart. My name is Sandra. I lost a wedding, but I found my strength again. And that, my dear